What's up, YouTube? It's Jeff Tuffner here on the Glorious Podcast with my October 10th, 2017 Smackdown Live review, the fallout from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And you know what? Once again, I had high hopes going into this show. High hopes, expecting a lot out of tonight, and I didn't get much of anything at all, unfortunately. I just every time I get my hopes up on SmackDown when it's a post pay-per-view show or whatever, when they hype it up, when it seems like it's gonna be a show to watch, a must-watch episode of SmackDown, I get disappointed, and that was the case once again tonight. Tonight was it just felt like so much nonsense tonight almost. I felt like there was way too much talking and promos and all that stuff, a lack of wrestling on this show, and there were way too many commercials. Why the hell were there so many freaking commercials tonight? I felt like there was a commercial every 5 minutes at least tonight. I mean, every match they had, the few matches they actually had on the show, they got the commercial like twice during them, and they were both, and all the matches were pretty short. There wasn't real, long match tonight. There was just so much promo after promo after promo after backstage segment, interview, whatever. That's what it was tonight. It was just so much of that, and I didn't enjoy it really at all, to be honest with you. I just felt like it was a huge letdown tonight. I felt like I was expecting so much more coming out of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. How great Hell in a Cell was on Sunday. Hell in a Cell was like one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year. So I was expecting a real lot out of SmackDown tonight, but I don't even think SmackDown's going to beat Raw this week for me, at least. I got to give the edge to Raw this week. I think the Shield really, differentiate the both shows this week. If the Shield had never showed up on Raw and that never all went down, I don't know what I'd be saying right now, but being that happened on Raw, I definitely think Raw gets the win for me, at least this week. Let's talk about SmackDown, though. They opened the show. I thought they would open the show with the whole, fallout from the main event. Sami Zayn maybe showing up, Kevin Owens, whatever. Shane McMahon wasn't there, which isn't really much of a surprise. I would assume he'll be off TV for at least a few weeks, and then he'll probably return maybe like 3 weeks from now or whatever. Come back for something to do with Survivor Series, but they open up with the tag teams, the Usos, the New Day. They go on a promo. I felt like it went way too long, and then all these other tag teams come out. The Hype Bros, the Ascension, Breeze Dango show up. Who else showed up? Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin showed up. So the entire SmackDown tag team division is out there. And then, of course, that leads to Daniel Bryan coming out, setting up a big fatal four-way match, a number one contenders match between all the tag teams except the New Day and the Usos, which ended up winning. Gable and Benjamin won, which wasn't much of a surprise because I remember reading a rumor earlier in the day saying that they would be the next expected number one contenders for the titles to take on the Usos, which isn't really a surprise. I didn't think Breeze Dango was going to win yet. Even though I was pulling for Breeze Dango, I'm not mad at all that Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin won. I think that would be something interesting to watch their feud. I feel like they still need to develop some type of a character for Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable's tag team. I felt like they're just real bland right now, and it's nothing really anything crazy. It's just just two guys together wrestling. You know what I mean? They don't really have anything yet, like a gimmick or whatever, if that's what you want to say. So I hope they kind of do that with them. They are like I said, they're over with the crowd though. The fans like them. So hopefully their feud's good. I assume we'll get the match sometime in the next 2 weeks on SmackDown because there's no way they're gonna wait all the way until Survivor Series, the next pay-per-view, for them to have this match. That would be like 8 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that. 6 weeks could be. I don't know how many weeks until Survivor Series, but I don't see them waiting that long with it, and I doubt they'll even have a tag team title match at Survivor Series. But that's how they open the show. So between the amount of time that promo went on in the beginning to the match itself, and then 4 commercials they took during the middle of the match, that covered almost 40 minutes of the show almost, it felt like. By the time it was over, it was almost halfway through the episode already. And then we get a women's segment backstage, and then we go to commercial again, and then we come back from commercial, and we get a quick match between Becky Lynch and Carmella. Becky Lynch picks up the win over Carmella. I don't know if that's going to lead to Becky Lynch getting a title shot sometime down the road. I have no idea what they're doing. All of a sudden it seems like the title's up for grabs again in the women's division. There's no real clear number one contender, so it almost seems like we're going to have to see how that kind of pans out over the next few weeks or whatever. I do think there's a good chance that Charlotte could win the title at that Starrcade live event they're doing in the middle of November, where she's taking on Natalya in a steel cage match. I think it is very possible that Charlotte could win the title in that match, and that's why she did not win last night at no, not last night, 2 nights ago rather, at Hell in a Cell. So I feel like that could be the case, and they might wait until after that to do something with the women's title on SmackDown. Then we get the much anticipated Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn segment, the fallout from Hell in a Cell. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. I felt like what I got was a kind of a letdown, but then, I was really thinking about it, and it was like, what else would it have been anyway, though? You know what I mean? Kevin Owens came out, cut a promo, and then Sami Zayn came out. Sami Zayn was like, any other day Sami Zayn. He didn't come out to no new music, no new, gear or whatever. It was just same old Sami Zayn. He did the same entrance and everything. They came out, they talked, and then they hugged it out or whatever, and that was that. So, I mean, it wasn't much of anything of a surprise. Nothing crazy happened. So, we'll see. Like I just said, there's just a lot of stuff. It was just like a weird show tonight. It just felt like, there's just many questions to be answered almost. Not questions to the point where it's like, cliffhanger questions where it's like, I got to tune into the show next week, where Hell in a Cell kind of left you wondering, like, I want to tune into SmackDown. Just a lot of questions. Like, it just felt like there's nothing right now because there's no pay-per-view for the next, like, wherever. So there wasn't like, let's start doing a bunch of number one contender matches, starting some new feuds up or whatever, continuing some old ones. It was just like, whatever, let's just throw a bunch of stuff together and throw a show on TV. That's what it felt like tonight. And then the next match shows that perfectly. Shinsuke Nakamura teaming with Randy Orton to take on Aiden English and Rusev. Nakamura and Orton pick up the win. I barely watched a second of this match. It's just like, what are they doing? What are they doing here? You know what I just noticed? Through this entire show, we didn't even see the WWE Champion Jinder Mahal. So much for the WWE Championship. The most prestigious title in TV on WWE is not even on the show. How are we supposed to think it is the most prestigious title if they don't even have the WWE Champion appear on the damn show? That's just a bad booking decision by WWE there, not to even have him show up at all. We didn't see him at all tonight. So that was awful by WWE there. So we don't see the WWE Champion. We get a tag match. Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler. Another promo. No match. We had legit, what was it? We had the tag match, the women's match, another tag match between Nakamura, Orton, and English and Rusev, and then the main event, Corbin and Styles. 4 matches. Now, you can make an exception on occasional episodes to 4 matches on the show, but these were quick matches. These weren't like, 10-minute matches or whatever. Most of them were pretty quick. It's just like there were just so much promos and nonsense tonight. It almost felt like it's like they just didn't want to do a show tonight. That's what it felt like almost. Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler promo, whatever. They're gonna match next week or whatever. Who cares? I mean, that it was just bad. I don't even care. I honestly don't even care at this point with what they're doing with them. And then Baron Corbin takes on AJ Styles in the main event for the U.S. title. Corbin retains the title. Nobody shows up after the match. Nothing crazy happened. It did appear that AJ Styles was injured, maybe. I don't know if it was just kayfabe injury or he was actually hurt. Probably just kayfabe. Hopefully it's just kayfabe. And, last thing we need is Styles to really be hurt. Some people have been speculating that Styles could be moving on to the WWE Championship in a feud with Jinder Mahal, which hopefully they would do that and they get that title off Mahal and put it back on Styles where it belongs as soon as possible, because Jinder Mahal's title run has been a disastrous mess at this point at least. Like I've said before, it wasn't a bad title run for the first 3 months or whatever, but as soon as the feud with Orton ended, I think kind of like the Nakamura thing didn't work out at all, and it's just been like, God, get the title off him at this point. And then, it would make sense to put it back on a guy like AJ Styles, who hasn't had it in a while since the Royal Rumble, I don't think. So we could be getting that feud. I don't know. Like I said, there's no pay-per-view for the next 6 weeks or whatever, so I don't know. Nothing was really announced tonight. We just learned new tag team title number one contenders. That's about it. You know what we did? You know what we did get? We found out that Luke Harper and Eric Rowan are being repackaged, and they're going to be coming back as a tag team once again for the 9th time, but they're not going with the same gimmick. So a little bit of a different gimmick. I forget what the hell they were even called. They came up with a new name for them or something, but I honestly thought that was I didn't even think it was them. I honestly thought that was Sanity or something, or the Authors of Pain or whatever, when they were showing that promo or whatever, that little video package. That showed them. I thought it was honestly someone else from NXT or whatever, and I was and then I saw it was them. I was happy it was them at the same time, but I was kind of like pissed a little bit, like, like, oh, they're just throwing them back together for the 1700th time or whatever. I mean, how many times have they split up in the past and then gotten back together as a tag team? At least 3 or 4 times in the past it's happened. But they, like I said, they have like a whole new gimmick now. They're dressed like Vikings or something. I don't even know what the hell their whole gimmick is. But SmackDown's tag team division, there's a lot of tag teams on SmackDown all of a sudden. I mean, I remember about, 5 months ago saying how Raw's tag team division was stacked and SmackDown was in, like, desperate need of tag teams. It's completely reversed now. Raw is in desperate need of tag teams, and SmackDown's tag team division is, like, stacked. There's, like, 7 or 8 tag teams on SmackDown right now. Raw's tag team division is so bad to the point where they're not even doing a tag team title match at the next pay-per-view. You know what I mean? They just threw the Shield back together, so I doubt we're going to see a tag title match. And I mean, if there is a tag title match, who the hell is it going to be? Is it going to be, you know what I mean? Like, there's like the same, it would be Cesaro and Sheamus again, or the Gallows and Anderson. That's the only tag teams they have over on Raw. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Authors of Pain are going to show up on Raw. I do think the Revival are coming back sometime soon. I remember seeing something earlier today or about them or whatever, so I think they could be back soon, which is really good news for them and Monday Night Raw because Raw needs help in the tag team division, like I just said, so I don't know. But Baron Corbin in the main event defeats AJ Styles, like I said before, nothing crazy there. Was hoping for something maybe to happen after the match or whatever, where someone else came out and, we found out maybe Baron Corbin's next feud or whatever. But the show just went off the air. That's that. Pretty much a letdown. It just felt like a letdown tonight, guys. I really don't know what to say. I expected so much more out of this show, and I just felt like I got absolutely nothing. I don't know what to pull out of the show that I really liked. I thought the beginning was okay. I liked the tag match and everything, and the whole, promo to open the show. I felt like it was definitely too long, but, like, I liked that part. But everything else, like, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, I felt like that could have been better. Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler segment, that was bad. Corbin Styles was, it was, basic stuff. And then same with the Nakamura, Orton, and Aiden English and Rusev tag match. Becky, Carmella, just a match. Like, I don't know, and it just felt like this show was overloaded with commercials. It felt like at least an hour of the show was filled with commercials, and the other hour was just filled with, the actual show itself. So that's what it felt like tonight. So I don't know. I really don't know what to say. In regards to SmackDown tonight, like I said, given the win to Raw this week, the better show. But Hell in a Cell if you want to count Hell in a Cell in the week of shows here, then Hell in a Cell was by far the best show of the week. So, I mean, at least we got that. At least we got Hell in a Cell this week, you know what I mean? It wasn't like there was no pay-per-view Sunday and we just had a, kind of an average episode of Raw and a bad episode of SmackDown or whatever, because that would have sucked. But, I don't know, move on to next week, I guess. Hopefully next week's better. Hopefully maybe we start to see something building toward the next pay-per-view, because I just hate when there's, like, no pay-per-view and it's just, like, they don't have anything to build towards. It's the worst when that happens. And ever since the brand splits happened, they've run into that so many times on both Raw and SmackDown, to where there's like a, one pay-per-view happens, specifically a multi-brand pay-per-view, like one of the big four, and then, the one show doesn't have a pay-per-view for like, 8 or 9 weeks after it, and then the other one does. That was the case with SmackDown, because after SummerSlam, Raw had no mercy, but SmackDown, the first pay-per-view for SmackDown after SummerSlam was Hell in a Cell this past Sunday, which is just mind-blowing that that's how it worked out. I thought they would have done a pay-per-view maybe in the middle of September, like they did last year with Backlash, but they never ended up doing that, and they just made them go 8 weeks or whatever. So it was kind of rough there for like the beginning of September for SmackDown. And now it's going to be rough once again because Raw is building toward TLC, which is in 2 weeks. I think this Monday is the last show for Raw until TLC, and then we have to wait until TLC is over until we can get the build started for Survivor Series, which is at the end of November. I'm looking forward to Survivor Series, obviously one of the big 4 pay-per-views. Hard not to look forward to it. So hopefully Survivor Series is good this year. I really enjoyed Survivor Series last year. I felt like it's one of those shows where at the time I thought it was okay, wasn't the best, but now looking back on it for some reason, it's one of those shows I kind of like going back and watching. Specifically that tag team match, that Raw vs. SmackDown, that one that went about an hour long. I love that match. And then you could watch Goldberg vs. Brock Lesnar for about a minute after that. But that's Survivor Series. Hopefully Survivor Series is good this year again. But SmackDown tonight, like I said, not the best of shows. I'll give it maybe like a 3.5 out of 10 tonight. Kind of low. I really expected more. I was hoping to give it at least maybe like a 7. That's what I was hoping. This would have been a great week if SmackDown were good tonight. It would have been. We'd had a great pay-per-view on Sunday, pretty solid episode of Raw with the Shield reuniting on Monday, and then a pretty good episode of SmackDown. But we just couldn't get the all 3 shows to be great this week. So hopefully there's better days ahead next week with WWE and everything. That's it for this one, though, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of the show down in the comments section below. Go follow me all over social media. The links will be listed in the description. As always, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you later here on the Glorious Podcast.